Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have Demi Burnett, not Lovato, defending Maurissa post-breakup on her conversation with Morgan from Morgan Talks Pop. Very interesting to hear Demi open up about, a scenario that doesn't have much information. We know Riley sort of refuses to talk about it, but there's, did they try to make amends? We're not really sure. We're not really sure. We're going to get into all this. As you guys know, I made this video probably a couple months ago where Demi said, y'all got the Maurissa and Riley breakup so wrong. Most people were saying, oh, she jumped in too soon. They hooked up right away. They did, he didn't really like her. All these things we don't know. And then others had said, well, she wasn't able to assimilate into the New York lifestyle. He continued living his life where she was kind of left high and dry. We really don't know what went down. But we're going to get into it and hear what Demi has to say. Demi, of course, has a new podcast out. So she's been doing the rounds, doing all the other podcasts, and give hers a shot. Give hers a shot. The YouTube quality is actually really good. You know me. I am the first to critique bad audio video, and she does not have bad audio video. But in this podcast, we're going to get into, where is it? Right here. This is audio only on Morgan's Pop Talks. Also, don't forget, tonight I have a show in North Hollywood at the Haha Comedy Club. That's at 8 p.m. You can come, let me know, send me a DM. That's in North Hollywood. And then May 12th, I've got my show in Burbank. I'm going to need you guys to make it to that one. That'll be a good one. All right. So anyway, I've made all these videos. Just 2 days ago, we made the videos. Are they back together? Are Bachelor in Paradise, Maurissa Gunn and Riley Christian back together? Some fans thought so, but we kind of shot that down. There was this whole like, oh, is this guy's bracelet matching up with Riley's? And it's like, come on. We're grasping at straws. We're barrel scraping. You guys know the drill. It's May. By the way, again, if you didn't catch my last video, thank you so much for the birthday shout out. I really appreciate all the birthday shout outs that we got. I'm going to do a live stream today, 2 p.m. Pacific time. I don't expect many people to come. It's just off season. There aren't as many people watching. But if you are around, it's just going to be an hour of me shooting it with you guys. We'll chat 2 p.m. Pacific today, 5 o'clock somewhere, 5 o'clock East Coast. Okay, let's hear what Demi has to say about the breakup.
I do know that you're still really good friends with Maurissa. You've shared your opinion on her breakup with Riley. I want to know what made you be vocal about their split.
Because Riley wouldn't let Maurissa talk to me whenever they were together.
Why?
Because I spoke about concerns I had with him to Maurissa.
So he kind of made her choose.
In my opinion, I think he wanted her to not have an influence over her that could be exposing behavior of his.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, and even me as like the interviewer, I don't want to pry because it's somebody else's relationship. But we all read the headlines of like, oh, well, she just didn't like moving to New York.
That's not true. None of that is true. None of that is true. I mean, I'm not going to say none of that is true because I don't know exactly what the headlines say. So I'm making it too general of a statement. But it's not that she didn't want to move to New York. She was with him in New York all day long. They were together all day, every day in his apartment. She never had a second away from him. I want to talk about my experience with it. And so I'm not speaking for Maurissa is what I want to be clear. That this is so only I can be blamed. Why did Riley block me on Instagram? Why did Riley block me on TikTok? I didn't even know he made a TikTok and he blocked me. He's blocked me on everything. Why? Because he doesn't want me to comment on his stuff. Why would you be so concerned about someone commenting on your stuff that you would block them immediately whenever you make a social media account? Or like you block them on everything because he's trying to make me look crazy. And I wasn't even the one that was with him. I barely talked to the guy.
Did he block you before or after they broke up?
After. He blocked me after I started talking about things. He's really trying to make me look crazy, and he's like building up a profile for himself. Like, oh, this new lawyer who has this new firm that he made. You can't just make up a law firm. You can't just make up a law firm in your apartment. You can't just do that. Like, what? A lawyer who's like covering from domestic abuse to like athletes? Like, what? It's all just really sus.
Well, I haven't Googled this, but I think you can make up a law firm. He does have a law degree.
To me, and the fact that he's blocking me is sus. And it's like, Riley, you're doing what a lot of toxic men do, and it's like you're you're putting up a facade that nobody's asking for. We're asking for a genuine human being to love and nurture. Like, that's what we want to do. All I want to do is like these men that are putting up these fronts and that are like trying to have control over us and like all these things, like, because they're so scared of like losing us. They're so like they're so scared of not having control of their situation. It's like, hey, we would forgive you and love you. I'm not gonna cancel you. I'm not gonna like do that. Like, I'm gonna cancel you until you admit it and acknowledge it. Because what you're doing, what they do, what men do with that is they are basically telling us that they're gaslighting us.
So here's where it becomes complicated, right? Because she said what men do. And look, this is what you do in comedy. Women be crazy. Women, it's generalization can be fun for comedy, but it can be very difficult. What men do. So what we do know is that he blocked her. We do know that. And again, we're not going to negate Demi's feelings about this because she's way closer to it than I am. But we don't know much else.
Telling me that's not the truth of the reality. They're telling me that I am not smart. They're because whenever whenever you like call these men out for what they're doing and then they gaslight you, like what Clayton did a lot of, it's like we should be rewarded for figuring that out, and we are punished and then brainwashed into thinking that never happened and we made all that up. And so what happens to women? We shrink and we shrink and we become so small and unsure of ourselves, and then that's exactly where they like us. And it's happening. It's a systemic issue. It is literally sick. And I'm sick of it. So that's why I want to say something about Riley. Like, yeah, you can try all you want, Riley, to make me look crazy right now and block me and, act like I'm the one. But, like, I know who you are and what you're doing, and I still want to love you anyway. But I want you to acknowledge your fault. I think that fear outweighs sense of self sometimes. Someone talking to me can completely make me cower down from my stance just because I'm afraid of them because they're bigger and louder than me. I like that I can be empowered by speaking out about it, not behind a keyboard, not behind this. Like, I feel like now I've done enough research to where I can prove anything that I'm talking about. And that's kind of what I needed to make sure that all of my intuitions, all of my theories that I had about everything going on is correct.
Be careful who you bang.
It really comes down to being careful who you bang. Because Riley, this is what, and again, we don't know. Demi knows what she saw and what Maurissa said to her. We don't have Riley or one of his best friends saying, hey, look, you got it all wrong. She wouldn't go, and again, I don't know if this is true. She wouldn't leave the house. She wouldn't get a job. She wouldn't do any of these things. She was smothering me. All the things that happen in a relationship when you move in together could have happened. As far as gaslighting goes, Clayton was brought into it. And a commenter, I won't say the name, but a commenter on the Patreon that we're streaming live right now, patreon.com/Dave Neal, said, I don't think Clayton ever lied on purpose in order to make someone think they're going insane. Another commenter said, Demi, tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you feel. And then Elaine says, Dave, this is going to be a balancing act for you on her podcast. I will be on, I'm scheduled to be on Demi's podcast soon. So we'll have to see, to be able to have these conversations where I'm not trying to negate how someone feels. Demi had mentioned that she thought my coverage of her talking about her autism was really crushingly good. Those are, I don't know if that's the word she used, but she basically said she really loved the way I was doing things. Well, I have to continue that into conversations like this, where did Riley gaslight Maurissa? This is the first we're kind of hearing about this. I think Demi's comments were more about men in general that will rewrite history. But I think that's what happens. I think this is what happens in any relationship. Once a relationship's over, you look on the ways. It's way easier to be critical of the other person than it is yourself. Now, if you have 5 relationships in a row that end poorly, and each one of them, you go, my ex is crazy. My ex wanted this. My ex wanted that. Chances are you might be part of the problem. It takes 2 to tango, sometimes 3, depending on how you're doing. And you know, Maurissa, she probably had a lot to learn. She probably brought her own faults into the relationship. As we saw on Bachelor in Paradise, she was super needy. I think some psychologist, Dr. Diane Stokowski, called it anxious avoidance. Whereas I was saying, oh, she's kind of codependent. People were saying, no, it's more of an anxious avoidance or something else. I'm not really sure. But the point being is that when Riley went away on a date, on a group date, she had a freaking freak out. Didn't she? I mean, I'm pretty sure she admitted to that. She had a panic attack and one triggered because she thought he was going to leave her and all these different things. That can lead to smothering, and it's just not healthy for relationships when you bring in your own baggage and burdens. But that's what life is. That's what we do. So the key is some relationships, you know, like mine, has been able to address our baggage and burdens and try to uncover them. And there's always going to be new burdens that have yet to be released. And hey, therapy's good, folks. But the point being is that, you know, there's always two sides to a story. I know a lot of people like to say there's three sides. There's my side, there's your side, and then there's the truth. It's like, yeah, sure, Deborah. But let's finish off with what Demi has to say here. By all means, I love that Demi's speaking her mind.
Like everything, and it all is. I was correct, and now I can just prove it.
How would you then describe, you know, him? What's his genuine self?
Not about, I'm not talking about Riley.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's just like, I mean, he's like, that's a generalization of like everything in my life. Like every time in like a woman's life, I feel like a woman's life, moments of self-doubt. I don't know if it's just like, maybe it's autistic women. I don't know, neurodivergent men.
Oh no, all the time.
Okay. And
all
you know, I'm just saying like in those moments where you doubt yourself, you're right. You are right. And every time there's an external factor that convinces you otherwise. And it's usually always a man or a woman who has been severely affected by a man to where she once self-doubted and someone has made her forget it so much and then made her an ally of theirs. Like, you know, super. It's just all so much toxic misogyny.
Okay, I just have one more thing with you. And this is how I like to wrap up every interview. It's called the hot seat. Now, these are just fun questions. So,
all right, so
don't stress. There's not going to be any.
Oh, we'll end it there. But you can go watch or listen to, I should say, Morgan's full podcast, Morgan's Pop Talks. As you guys know, we like to feature different podcast clips and audio, but it's always good to go to the source and listen and watch the full thing. Morgan's crushing it. She's doing a great job. That Morgan person is doing a great job, as she always has. And I can only imagine, I'd love to see her face when Demi's going on her rant, because I'm sure she was like, just the popcorn, you know what I mean? Very interesting stuff here. So we didn't really get too much information about what actually happened other than Demi says that he blocked her. And I guess she's kind of implying that he was kind of controlling her. I don't know if that's the case. We really don't know. We really don't know much more than when this video started. But we've been talking a lot about these sort of issues, and it's ugly. You want to speak about ugly issues? How about the Johnny Depp trial? Ugly. UGLY. That's your alibi, you ugly. If you want more of that content, Johnny Depp, I'm covering it extensively on the Dave Neal Show. The Dave Neal Show on YouTube. We've got one video that absolutely blew up over the weekend, talking about the trial. It's got over 300,000 views, and the Dave Neal Show is just. I think by the end of the week we'll be at 10,000 subscribers. The rate it's going. We started last week with 5,000. It took me 4 months to get the first 5,000, and in only a week to get 50% more than that. So people are tuning in over there because we have a fascination with the human condition, the dynamic of love, and how quickly it can unravel and things like that. And it's not often that you get to hear the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
But that's what we're trying to find in the Johnny Depp case, because they're sworn depositions and testimonies and the whole court procedure. We're hearing things about two celebrities that battled their drugs and toxicity, and it's a full-on defamation lawsuit. So I'll be making all that content. In the meantime, 2 p.m. live stream Pacific today. That's a public live stream. And if you want, I always appreciate everyone joining the behind the scenes Patreon. That's patreon.com/Dave Neal. For as little as $5 a month, you can get behind the scenes access to almost daily content where you get to watch us make the sausage. It's been a month of barrel scraping, and we're going to continue to do that as it's the off season. No new episodes for another 9 weeks or so. So anyway, stick around. More to come. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye, everybody.